Finding the Boy King. Most excavators would confess to a feeling of awe when they break into a chamber closed and sealed many centuries ago. With trembling hands, I made a tiny breach in the upper left-hand corner of the sealed doorway. Darkness and blank space, as far as an iron testing rod could reach, showed that whatever lay beyond was empty. Candle tests were applied as a precaution against possible foul gases, and then, widening the hole a little, I inserted the candle and peered in, the others standing anxiously beside me to hear the verdict. At first I could see nothing, the hot air escaping from the chamber causing the candle flame to flicker. But presently, as my eyes grew accustomed to the light, details of the room within emerged slowly from the mist. Strange animals, statues, and gold, everywhere the glint of gold. For the moment, an eternity it must have seemed to the others standing by, I was struck dumb with amazement. When Lord Carnarvon, unable to stand the suspense any longer, inquired anxiously, "Can you see anything?" It was all I could do to get out the words, "Yes, wonderful things." Then, widening the hole a little further so that we could both see, we inserted an electric torch. We were simultaneously filled with exhilaration of discovery, the fever of suspense. Surely never before in the whole history of excavation had such an amazing sight been seen as the light of our torch revealed to us. A room full, a whole museum full of objects piled one upon another in seemingly endless profusion. Presently it dawned upon our bewildered brains that in all this medley before us, there was no coffin or trace of a mummy. The explanation gradually dawned. Between the two black sentinel statues, there was another sealed doorway. What we saw was merely an antechamber. Behind there were to be other chambers, possibly a succession of them. And in one of them, in all his magnificent panoply of death, we should find the pharaoh lying. Next morning, we removed the blocking of the doorway and we entered the tomb. Here, packed tightly together in this little chamber, were scores of objects, any of which would have filled us with excitement under ordinary circumstances and been considered an ample repayment for a full season's work. None of us was prepared for the astonishing vitality that characterized certain of the objects. All of the larger ones were inscribed with the name of Tutankhamun. While we were still excitedly calling each other from one object to another, came a new discovery. Beneath the southernmost couch was a small irregular hole in the wall, yet another sealed doorway and plunderer's hole. Clearly, we were not then to be the first. Clearing the objects from the antechamber was like playing a gigantic game of spillikins. It was a matter of extreme difficulty to move one object without running serious risk of damaging others. Some were in beautiful condition, others in a most precarious state. It was slow, painful work, and nerve-wracking at that, for one felt all the time a heavy weight of responsibility. Destruction of evidence is so easy and yet so hopelessly irreparable. 7 weeks it took us to clear the antechamber, and thankfully we were when it was finished without any disaster. We were ready at last to penetrate the mystery of the sealed door, and it was with trembling hand that I struck the first blow and carefully chipped away the plaster. When I had made a hole large enough to do so, I inserted a torch. An astonishing sight its light revealed, for there, within a meter of the doorway, stretching as far as one could see, and blocking the entrance to the chamber, stood what to all appearance was a solid wall of gold. Had the thieves penetrated the shrine and disturbed the royal burial? Here, on the eastern end, were the great folding doors, closed and bolted but not sealed, that would answer the questions for us. Eagerly we withdrew the ebony bolts and the doors swinging back as if closed only yesterday, and revealed within yet another shrine. It had similar bolted doors, but upon them was a seal intact, bearing the name of Tutankhamun and a recumbent jackal over Egypt's 9 foes. Henceforth, we knew that within the shrine we should be treading where nobody had entered the shrine since the boy king was laid to rest nearly 3,300 years before.